Hello, bright eyes. Why do they always do that? Healthy.
How can anything be unhealthy for you?
Not me, babe, you. When was the last time you talked to someone who isn't dead other than that neighbor of yours?
I'm a floating bomb. I'm a floating bomb. Sweet.
Well, Alola, Ash. Welcome home. Not long enough.
You flatter me. I need to ask you a couple of questions.
I haven't done anything, I haven't seen anything, and nobody saw me do anything.
Let me ask my questions first.
Ask whatever you want, but I just gave my answers.
Hello.
Welcome to the Temple of Learning. I am Professor H.M. Wogglebug, T.E., at your service.
Wogglebug. Are you the same Wogglebug who wrote Flight Patterns of the North Munchkin Tooth Sparrow?
The very same. You've read my book?
No, but it's on my shelf, right next to Mating Calls of the Gillikin Centipede.
You've bought my books, but haven't read them.
Well, not exactly. I found them in a box on the street.
I see. Did you want something? Stage? Ow! Jubilos Nartropple, a humble servant to no one. Too bad your grace proved to not be capable enough to save my cart. Well, one shouldn't expect a fast reaction from a baroness herself.
Jack, I'm sorry, Jack. As a man, I wished you all the happiness in the world. But as a rabbi, as a religious leader out of duty, I could not accept it. Can you understand? Jack! Jack, forgive me, Jack.
Listen, the thing you have to understand is, this is all your fault. You miss all the obvious signs. You let everything slip through your fingers. And you're no good at fixing things. That's why she's dead. That's why you're here. Right. Anyway, I'll call again later. But if you need help, and you will need help, please hang up and press 0 to dial your operator.
Wait! Why the hell did you do this? Here. Go on, take it. Take it. Just...
You are no one, and how would you possibly stop me? You don't even have arms.
I'm not no one. I am Crispin Horatio, built version 1. I have free will and a maglev unit. And I am a floating bomb.
Hey, I hope everyone's able to hear that. I wasn't sure if the audio was working. Abe, you can unmute yourself now.
Thank you so much.
Yep. That, everyone, is just a sample of the work that my guest Abe Goldfarb has done for so much. You've seen a lot of them from games. You've seen a very well-known anime. Everyone, Abe Goldfarb. Abe, thanks for coming on.
Thanks very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep. And so you've been acting for how long? I'm assuming most of your life, I bet?
Well, at this point, I moved back to New York from theater school. I went to theater school in the UK from the ages of 18 to 21. And then I guess I've been in New York as an actor now for 21 years. So half my life.
Yep. And what got you started in acting?
Lust for attention and approval, I suppose. I got into it in school, and it was something that I was good at, and I'm really not very good at many things. Although, interestingly, I was watching the that video that you put up, of all, which, by the way, thank you for editing a reel of my voices. That's insane. But I was watching it, and I was thinking, wow, you are getting like a smorgasbord of like me, from me knowing what I'm doing as a voice actor to like me absolutely not knowing what I'm doing as a voice actor, which like in the early Wajidai games, I'd never done any voice acting. Like the first Blackwell game and the Shiva, I can't even listen to them now because I was so absolutely clueless as to what as to the job and to what you do.
Could have fooled me.
Well,
You brought such good, great energy to it.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. But yeah, no, I acting is one of maybe 2 or 3 things that I'm good at all in the world. And so that's kind of why I do it.
Now, I had Dave on the other day. I don't know if you saw that interview, but yep, he said that you two met, and he's mentioned this many times. It was at a acting camp, wasn't it? I believe
It was an arts camp. So you had you did have a theater program. You also had glass blowing and a little printing press place, and weaving and what have you. And Dave was really interested in filmmaking at the time. He made a short film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was called Private Public, and it was about a really shitty private detective. And it was we got to know each other really well. We met, I guess, when I was 12. So yeah, this was 30 years ago.
Whoa. Yeah. And yep, and you've been his regular pretty much ever since. Either bit roles or especially with Strangeland, a return to being the main role.
I felt very lucky to have this association with Dave. It's just been it's been amazing watching him become. He always was an artist, but I don't know if he'd found his medium until adventure games came along. And then once he did, I mean, his work.
Oh yeah, I love his work since his freeware days.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He's just an incredible writer of character, of plot, of it's funny. This interview is going to be all over the place because I have severe ADHD,
I'm always all over the place myself. So.
Okay, great. But I'm a big believer that plot is not story. That plot is stuff that happes,
right?
And story is a combination of plot, character, theme, atmosphere. It's story is everything, and Dave is just a master of story.
Oh, definitely, he is. I mean, just everything, but just with the Blackwell series alone, how it built and everything, and how he even said yesterday, he had that final shot, that moment we saw in the video, even with Joey trying to just get Rosa to come up. He had that plan since Convergence.
Which is insane. It's insane to me.
Yep. Oh, and he's in the chat right now.
Dave, what is up? We were just saying really nice things about you.
Yep. Hey, yesterday we were gushing about him. Now we're gushing about you. Yeah, but seriously, I mean, let's stick with the adventure games first. Talk about those. Rabbi Stone, that first voice acting role you had done, and for him and all that, and talk about a very interesting character.
Yeah, no, I mean, you'll note that Dave electronically lowered my voice a little because the thing is, I mean, I couldn't have been more than 24 at that point, 25 maybe. I did not have the world weariness that is sort of necessitated by the character of Rabbi Stone.
I
gave it my best shot, but I was a child.
Right.
And so it was... there's a lot of complexity in that.
Oh, definitely.
And also it's really solidly in the Talmudic tradition. It's so much questioning and so much sort of intellectual dissection and pursuit.
Oh yeah.
It's really an incredibly emotional and cerebral game. And I mean, it's very much to Dave's credit that he was able to write something that sophisticated.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful it took off because had it not, I mean, who knows?
Right, who knows? And you got a cameo as well as Rabbi Stone during the second game, Unbound, where we call up the phone and hello. But Joey, though, Joey has been one of my favorite roles from you, just from the very beginning, that hello, Bright Eyes, all the way up to the very end. And
Thank you.
And boy, the character grew. I mean, the way you played him off in the first one, he came off a bit of an ass, but given
he's
everything.
A dick.
Oh yeah. But
he's a complete dick. He's just he's impatient. He's frequently cross, and he's
Do you blame him? No, he's been stuck in a room, a psych ward for years.
Yeah.
And as he said, how many ceiling cracks there were. Wasn't sure about that last blood.
Exactly.
One of my favorite lines, but yeah, then in Unbound, slightly different character for different reasons. And then going forward, though, but my favorite moment, and this is so much to your credit, especially as an actor, was in the Deception when Joey is with that one girl ghost. And, basically, putting, using the charm and everything. And I just love that sequence, everything that.
It's beautiful writing.
It is. And of course, the gameplay animation was great, but it was, the writing and your performance there. Cause I really felt like, anyone else I think did it, Joey would have come off as a creep. And when you look at just the dialogue alone, you can get that vibe, but you made it sincere.
Well, thank you. Ultimately, I'll say it again, it really is down to Dave. It's just really, really, he knows what he wants to express. And he's become an incredible director of actors. And so I agree. It was very, very clear. I just burped. I've been trying.
That's all right. Hey, that's fine. Hey, that's fine. I've done that too.
This is live. Yeah, just cut it out. But yeah, no, Dave. Dave and I both, I think. No, I got that the wrong way around. I think Joey grew with Dave and I.
Definitely.
We both got more mature. We both got smarter. We both got a little bit, I think, marginally deeper as thinkers.
Yep.
To the point where by the end of the series, it goes beyond pathos. It's actually not that hard to wring tears out of people. You can make people cry pretty easily.
Yep.
If you turn the screws the right way. But what Dave did was he built such a beautiful, beautiful character and a beautiful relationship.
Oh yeah.
And the conflicts became complexified the further along in the series that you went. And so for me, it was definitely something that grew with the two of us. And by the end of the series, I finally was about to know how to play him.
Right. I would say there was one moment where I always felt it was a little off, but understandably so. And I think you're meant to, was in this third one when Joey is snapping and everything. But sometimes it feels like he has every right. Like he doesn't want it to happen again. But sometimes it feels a little bit. I'm just saying this. I'm just giving constructive criticism. Well, after the fact, of course. But
well, when we do the Snyder cut, we'll fix it.
But you've done other roles for Watch I Game, not just Dave's games, but others like in Puzzle Bots.
Right.
I just blank on the character's name now, but
Xander, I believe.
Xander.
Complete. Who is about as close. He's about as close to me, I think, as a character I've ever played has been.
Yep. Just great character, just energetic, but completely oblivious. The character,
completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just but one of my favorites, what? I love that. That was one of my favorites when he saw the girl that he likes him. He's like, wait, what?
No, that was absolutely very true to me. I can be very, very oblivious as to people's opinions and feelings about me.
Yep, but and you've done again so many others. Resonance, where you did a bit of a Scottish accent. I think you were going for.
That was Northern English.
Northern English, right?
But also, honestly, now I wouldn't have done that character because the character was a person of color, and I think at the time, I don't know. I just wasn't. I was not being mindful at the time. I don't think any of us were
that's understandable. Hey, whenever
it's quasi understandable. I think we do a lot of excusing of people for things that happened even 10, 20, 30 years ago. The rules have always basically been the same. It's like with Governor Cuomo. It's not as though 20 years ago it was cool and okay to behave that way towards people. And I feel the same way with a white actor playing a character of color. I just feel like we should have known better.
Oh yeah, a friend of mine,
and I regret it. I regret it very deeply.
Yeah, a friend of mine put it best recently. She basically had said that some people are complaining about how men are treated, but it's like, no, you're getting the equality that you've been wanting, saying let's go for. It's like, and it's a very good point. It's like you're just not getting what you were expecting and all that. You were expected to stay the same. Yeah.
And of course it's not the same.
Exactly.
But it's funny now that we're sort of segueing briefly into a little political sidebar.
A little.
I recently found there was some comment section where someone said that as a result of my social media presence, they felt very iffy about supporting my work.
Oh,
and it's like, well, I mean, like I'm a grumpy queer socialist, and so like that's very off-putting to a certain number of people.
Oh, and I understand.
None of whom I give a shit if they're my fans.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's what I stand. I'm always of the belief of separate art from artists at the very least, if you can. Now, there are some things, of course, depending on the type of or what the artist has done, but. Like, you get what I mean by that, right?
I know what you mean. I also don't fully agree.
Okay.
I do think that, and this is not meant with no disrespect.
Oh yeah,
it's
none taken.
Difference of opinion. I do think that separate the art from the artist is frequently used to excuse the artist.
Okay. Yeah.
When the artist has done something.
Oh yeah, really abhorrent. I would agree with that one. I'm just saying that if it's a matter of opinion, like that's where I feel like when they say I'm a big comic fan, I cannot stand when I see people say like, oh, look what they said on social media, but they've done great work. Oh, it doesn't matter. They don't agree with me politically. Yeah. Okay, come on. That doesn't take away from their good writing.
Yeah, but the thing is, people have always had this problem. I mean, it's nothing new. It's just that now in social media, it's easier than ever.
Oh yeah, that is.
To have access to people's opinions and feelings about these things.
Oh yeah.
And in some ways, it makes the fandom quite self-selecting in a very useful way. Honestly.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is very true.
I've lost fans.
Oh.
But I remember at one point a follower of mine tweeted at me and said, leave out the politics. That's not what we're interested in. And I was like, well, I responded. I was like, listen, the politics come with it. If you're a fan of me, you're going to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
hey, that's your choice.
And his response was actually, okay.
All right. Oh yeah. Again, I've butted heads with people. There are things I'm not going to go into my politics. That's not what it is about. But I butted heads with people. But I'm always of the belief of, hey, so long as we can walk away and just come to an understanding, I'm good.
Yeah.
That is where I'm of the belief of.
Right on. Of course, now I'm very curious about your politics.
No, trust me. I'm middle of the road on a lot of issues, is all I'm going to say.
Let's turn the camera around for a moment.
Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Let's put the spotlight on you, sir.
No, thank you. No, thank you, please. Hey, I'm
all right.
Yep, I try and keep it out of my show as much as possible. So
okay.
Because the thing is, though, my own politics does not dictate who I am or what I've done. It's more like, yeah. So anyway, back to you, sir.
No, we'll get in about half an hour. We'll circle back. We'll get
and I'll just turn it back.
Anyway, you'll try. All right. What are we doing? What's happening? What are we talking about now?
Well, currently now I've been going through Golden Wake, where you play as Doc
Dammers.
Doc Dammers. Great,
Doc Dammers, for whom I did my Robert Preston Music Man impression. That was really what I was doing there.
That is what the feeling I had when you were doing it. I'm like, this sounds very Music Man like.
Well, yeah, no, it was like, well, you got trouble, my friends. He's got that Robert Preston voice.
Exactly.
And that was the homage. That was a deliberate homage. I'm a huge Music Man fan.
Yep, and I just love the actor, like in Last Starfighter. You know how he was just
love him.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just got a text from Dave Gilbert. He is apparently on his screen, he is squishing me. Full kids in the hall. But yes, no, Robert Preston in The Last Starfighter, which was a Music Man homage, his character in that.
Exactly. That was what it was written for. It was written for him in mind.
That's right.
Yep, but yeah, you've done again, but in bit parts, like as we saw in the video, Emerald City, you did like multiple roles. I just showed 2 of them.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, you were Jack Pumpkinhead and Willowbug.
Professor Wogglebug.
And
I believe I was also I want to say Jowlo.
I think so. Yeah, I think you were Jowlo. I was just going for what I could and trying to fit everyone else in. But yeah, Jack. That's one of my favorite lines. Like, say what you will, but I gave my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was definitely, it was me doing my 1970s Scorsese character voice. That was Jack Pumpkinhead.
Yep. But Crispin in Primordia, one of my favorite roles. And as you probably could tell, one of my favorite lines, I'm a floating bomb.
I'm a floating bomb. Crispin was an awesome experience. And that was, of course, my first time working with the Wormwood guys, who are a very particular bunch, as I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and it was that character. The game, of course, was a massive hit. I was delighted by the response to the character because I really felt such deep affection for Crispin. And I mean, he's your, on some level, you could say he's a standard comedy sidekick, but I think there's something. It's very, very hard to generate empathy for a robot character because, like, on an intellectual level, we all understand that they're basically running off of programming. So how do you make that something for people to care about? And I mean, the writing is just, Mark's writing in that is insane. It's brilliant.
Definitely.
And you wind up really, really caring about these two guys.
Oh yeah.
Horatio and Crispin. And Crispin is just, I could see him being very annoying.
Oh yeah.
If I pushed it a little bit furher.
But you got that right balance. You had that perfect balance of being snarky, but also endearing. Thank you.
Yeah. I had a great time doing it.
And here's what I like about Crispin is that he is the first outsider-built robot. If you presume that there has been no new built robots. If you go under that presumption, he's the first one built outside of everything without much of a function other than what Horatio gave him, which was free will. So he's not in the standard, the circles. So I think that's why I like best so much about him is that, he can operate on his own, do what he wants, and that's why he calls everything out. It's like, oh boy, check out these guys.
That's right. I've gotten a text from a friend who's watching this who says, no one has trouble sympathizing with robots. Look at Roombas.
Especially at the times when you see Roombas bump into something, you can't be like, oh, you machine. You get it out of the way. Exactly. But
I see a Roomba, I want to help a Roomba.
Exactly. Now, one of your your recent roles, Strangeland, your main role, that, man, you gave so many great different lines, everything about it. Every one of your deliveries was spot on. Right with first one with the super ego on the phone that I showed in the clip.
Yeah, it was very challenging as a project. I mean, it would have been challenging if I was just playing the stranger and not all those other characters. Someone has just asked in the comments, why did they not make Roombas square? And I think it's so that they're able to turn if they hit a wall.
Wanted to answer that. I know, exactly. And I think that was the intent. Doesn't always work.
Yes. But I think if they're circular, they're a little bit more navigable. Just wanted to address the pressing issues being raised in the comment section.
No problem.
At any rate, Strangeland. It would have been deeply challenging if I was only playing the stranger because it's such it's a character that you have to walk into. Almost every character that you'll ever play as an actor has a notion of themselves. They know what their history is. They know what their feelings are about things. And you can kind of, go off of the text and try and figure out, okay, like, why do they feel like this? What's driving them? And with the stranger, there's none of that. Literally none of it. Right, you basically just walk in and you're like, not only do I not know where I am, I don't know myself. I don't know how I feel about any of this. There's just this like creeping existential fear. Yeah. And it builds to this like confused sorrow.
Oh, definitely.
And rage. And that's a lot to build to. That's a lot to play. And Dave really like drew it out of me. And I saw the interview you did with James, where there was a minute there where they were not at all sure they wanted to use me, and Dave really fought for me. I was very grateful.
Oh yeah, and he made the right call. He made the right call because you really brought a level that I have not seen you bring in the other games, and it was that damn good.
Thank you. I think I'm prouder of the work I did in Strangeland than of almost any game voice that I've done that I can think of. Deeply proud of it. And like, it's really upsetting and really beautiful. And
oh yeah.
And I really loved playing all those other guys. I loved playing Super Ego because I've played like villainous characters, but I've never played someone who was just made up of pure hatred.
Oh yeah.
You know, and of course it's self-loathing, you know. I mean,
that's what really sells it, is that you were like, why is this guy hating him? Oh, it's hating himself.
That's right. It's really intense, you know. And then, I had an extraordinary experience with that, and because this was all done during the pandemic. You can see right behind me there is a closet door. It was all in there.
Oh, really?
So I was in this closet, surrounded by my partner's clothing. You know, like with my laptop sat on an ice pack so that it didn't overheat and start the fan buzzing.
Right.
Because my laptop is 8 years old.
Ooh. Still newer than my computer, which is always having its fan going off.
But yeah, no, I mean, being trapped in there and feeling that kind of claustrophobic sense of the world creeping in around me, it contributed to it. And it was very intimate. It was very leaned in. It was very close to the mic. Yeah. And Dave really got me to some important places there that I couldn't have gotten on my own, even with the excellent writing of that game. And it is a fabulous game on every level.
Oh, definitely.
And I mean, every voice in there just crushes. I mean, everyone's operating on crazy high levels.
Speaking of, has there ever been any of the actors that you've, obviously been along with on the games that you wish you could have worked together with in the same room?
Oh my gosh, all of them. Dara Seitzman did a voice in Strangeland, and Dara, I directed her in a play in 2003. So 18 years ago, I directed Dara Seitzman in a play called Silly Cow by Ben Elton, one of the creators of Blackadder. And she was brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. And I know that Shelley Shenoy has been in a number of Dave's games, and I directed her in a play.
I definitely remember that from the commentary track. Like, a lot of the voice actors came thanks to you.
And now, of course, a lot of voice actors come thanks to Shelley. But Shelley played the lead in a show I directed called The Magic of Mrs. Crowling, which was in 2007. And she played a coked up, deranged children's book writer, and she's fantastic. Oh, and of course, I mean, Rebecca Whitaker. Who did the Blackwell games. She and I have been friends for years, and we both work in the burlesque scene here in New York. Rebecca is Gal Friday, an incredible striptease artist, and I host shows as Bastard Keith. That's my name on the burlesque scene, and so we spend most of our time backstage making dick jokes. It's really
Oh, geez, the stuff I've heard from the bloopers was Rebecca alone. The very fact that in A Golden Wake, when you enter the newspaper, the Miami Herald, where she's at, it's almost all and the commentary's on. It's almost all bloopers.
Yes, it's Blooper City. She is funny as hell. She is. There's a difference between people who say funny things and people who talk funny. And she talks funny. She's just got a natural wit and a truly funny way of saying things and a funny way of thinking. And I just love her to death. So yeah, I mean, weirdly, I guess I've worked with a lot of the actors from these games in the past. But I mean, any of them, I would kill to. I mean, theater was really my first love, and so I mean, honestly, I would love to do a play or a musical with a bunch of these game voices. That would be a blast.
Yeah. So moving on from the games, we'll come back to them eventually. But Pokemon, how does that come about? That's one of your biggest, on your resume.
It's definitely, in terms of visibility, like nothing else comes close. I was oddly, this came about because of my burlesque career. I was emceeing a wedding, basically these friends of mine needed someone to just sort of direct the flow of the thing with performances, get everyone situated for the ceremony, and do a little bit of funny talking in the mic. And one of their guests, one of their friends, is someone who works very high up at Pokemon. And I said at the time, I was like, man, I would love to do a Pokemon voice. And this person, they had seen me do a lot of burlesque, and it turned out that they were a big fan of my host work. And they were like, listen, here's someone you should email. Let's set you up with an audition. And so I did. And Professor Kukui was not my first Pokemon role.
Oh, really?
The first one I did was in an episode called Lights, Camera, Pika, where I played this guy called Frank, who is he's got like a Pikachu ranch. And he's this very strange old man who's making a movie with a bunch of Pikachus. And it went very well. And then I wound up being hired for Dr. Zarosik. I auditioned for him and I got that. And I got that, I think, because I listened to the Japanese voice and I was like, I'm going to do the American equivalent. Because he talked like this in a very rich, deep voice. And so I tried to do that in English, and it worked out rather well. And then I landed Kukui, which got me... Well, they say don't look at the... I was told by a friend, don't look at the fan art. Now that you've got this role. And I was like, fuck that. I'm looking at the fan art. And I look, and it is just straight up pornography. It is amazing.
I'm with you.
Just like this guy with a
Rule
great
34.
big cock. It's like fucking Pokemon fucking clones of himself. It's the most amazing. It was astonishing. And so I was like, well, clearly this character has meaning to people.
Yep.
So I have a responsibility.
Yep.
And that was the first time that I ever looked. I was like, you know what? I'm going to look on the forums after the first couple of episodes air because I'm curious how the fans are taking it. And the first few episodes I did it, the fans were like, this is fucking trash. This guy is crap. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's ruining the character. And then like a few months. No, it's fine. But listen, it's fine. And then a few months later, they were like, Abe Goldfarb, Professor Kukui, iconic. And then another person who came on and did a new voice. They were like, this person is bullshit. They're fucking up this character. Exactly. And I was like, in a few months, it's going to be the same thing. They'll get used to it.
That's
and
why I was
like,
going, oh, Lord, because I know it's that trend of like, oh, that's why I was like, oh, Lord, like same old things,
That's right. And they're going to be like, and in a few months, they're going to be like, this guy we used to shit on, iconic. Incredible.
Exactly. And I cannot think of anyone else but you doing Kukui because
thank you.
Because like that again, that clip I showed, that's brought such great. And I've also seen the bits like during the Pokemon battle. Again, you just nailed it.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Yep. I mean, it was that was another one where there was a learning curve, because I'm not used to playing. Yeah. I'm not used to playing ordinary guy characters, and Kukui is as close to an ordinary guy as you can get. And so I was like, well, my guiding star here has to be like Owen Wilson with just like this insanely laid back.
Yeah.
You can't do Owen Wilson because only Owen Wilson can do Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah. Now even his own brother can do Owen Wilson.
Wow.
He can do Luke Wilson.
Yeah. No, what this book presupposes is maybe he didn't. But like, I was just trying to make him the kind of teacher that you'd want to have, like a really chilled out guy. And when they finally got to the masked royal, like that stuff, I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
That Kukui had this secret identity. And so then I was like, oh shit, I get to do like Macho Man Randy Savage. Because I straight up impersonated Randy Savage for that one. And it was brutal on my voice because there's only so much of this you can do before it starts to really hurt. Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, but it's one thing to do it when you do a little bit, but when you're doing for a recording session,
hours. We had to save it for the end every single fucking time.
Exactly.
And I was doing that while I was in Beetlejuice on Broadway.
Oh, I was going to bring into that because
And so like I sit like protecting my voice was very difficult. There was a lot of
I
tape.
could just imagine, especially with someone like Beetlejuice, just that kind of a voice.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I was in the ensemble and I was understudying like 5 of basically every male role in the show. And the nice thing was that you didn't have to do the Beetlejuice voice. Like if you were if you were going on for Beetlejuice as an understudy, you did not have to do the voice because the guy who played Beetlejuice on Broadway, Alex Breitman, incredible performer, great, also a great voice actor. You're going to see him on. He's been on Dead End. He's been on Hell of a Boss, which is on YouTube, which is a great show.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And I'm going to be doing. I mean,
you're involved?
Like maybe. But also,
I look forward.
You're going to see him on Dead India.
Oh, I've heard of that.
So yeah, that's going to be coming up. I think that's Hamish Steele's show. It's coming up on Netflix. It's going to be gorgeous. But yeah, no, he's basically a mutant. What he can do with his throat, he trained his throat to do something, and you can look it up, called the ventricular fold phonation.
Oh, really?
And basically,
I'm gonna look it up.
It's vibrating these 2 folds in your throat, so you're not growling.
Oh,
but you're employing muscles to vibrate these folds.
Wow!
And there's actually footage. They got a camera in his throat so that he could demonstrate it, and it is fucking terrifying.
I bet. Boy, I mean, I thought the weirdest thing I ever heard was D. Bradley Baker saying how he's somehow able to manipulate his nasal cavities to do his animal voices, but that takes the cake.
I'll tell you, you've never seen or heard anything like it. And it's worth noting, when he was doing Beetlejuice on Broadway, I mean, it was months before he took a day off. I mean, the guy is a machine. You know, so like.
Oh, I bet. From what I've seen,
to be able to do that stuff vocally is outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, how? Yeah, I was going to ask you. Yeah, because I was going to lead into that. Like, just how was that whole production? I mean, it's like
amazing.
I mean,
amazing.
I know, a Beetlejuice musical. You only know about 2 songs from that movie, which are in the musical.
They are in the show.
Yep, but just the idea then of making an entire musical out of it, that is just, it always baffles me. But then you get Heathers, you get things like that where you're like, if they could do it out of Heathers, why can't they do Beetlejuice?
The Heathers musical became a real cult item. It's a really,
I love that music.
Great score. Have you heard the score for Beetlejuice by Eddie Purvis?
Not in a while. I heard it when things were starting out, but not recently.
Well, it's funny. The music for that, we were in the shitter at the start of our run. Because we got terrible reviews. We had zero heat coming off of us out of the Washington, D.C. tryouts. And so when we came to New York, the assumption was that we were going to bomb and lose Warner Brothers something in the region of $20 million, which you don't want to do. But you mentioned that it's like a crazy idea to have a Beetlejuice musical. What saved us was the music.
Right. Because
in one weekend, we released the cast recording. And then we did our performance on the Tonys, and it was that like basically propelled us into becoming a hit show. Like people fell in love with the music.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I've noticed a good musical. You could have some of the greatest actors, you can have all that, but if the music isn't there, that's what gets people coming. And
it gets them coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
More importantly,
it does. Especially to see the performances and all that stuff and hear it. Because one thing to hear it on recording, it's another to see it live.
It is. And I mean, this was a show that was just, I mean, it was stacked. The number of great performers in this show, it's unbelievable. And like, it was just a really great show. Yeah. And it was my first Broadway show. And it was entirely put together by nice people. You know, you hear showbiz horror stories, but this was a mega production. It cost an obscene amount of money.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And that kind of money, you're always warned that it attracts big toxic egos. But this show, it was the nicest bunch of people I've ever worked with. And I had an absolute blast with it. And it definitely broke our hearts when things had to shut down.
Yeah.
That was very tough.
Yeah, because seriously, I mean, now Well, further, this whole pandemic thing. Although, from what I understand, it helped you focus more on your voice acting. So how?
Yeah, it really helped me focus by making that the only thing I could do.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously.
Lots of good focusing happening.
Hey, I'm quoting Dave. I'm quoting what Dave said. So.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, though. But seriously, I mean. And part of the bigger reason why I wanted you on here is because you are such a great talent, and
thank you.
Yep, I really hope that you get more roles. I hope stuff like the Pokemon stuff and all that stuff, it can help you broaden out. I hope Strangeland could actually help out.
That's very kind of you. I mean, I love Strangeland deeply.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm honestly, I love doing game voices. There's one shitty tough part of it, which is when you are a player character.
Oh yeah,
you have all of the branching dialogue.
Yeah, it's
like keep it fresh, or you were gonna fuck this up.
Yep.
Keep it fresh. But I love doing game voices. I love doing.
Oh yeah, you did Pathfinder.
Yes.
That was in the video.
Kingmaker.
Oh yeah,
I was as Jubilos Nartropple.
Yep. And how was that?
That was fun. You know, he's a little bitch.
Any idea if he's back for the new one that just came out? Or?
He is not. He was specific to Kingmaker, but we had a really, really good experience with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be such a jerk, and I'm gonna say that I've recently done a voice for a game that is going to be huge, and I can't tell you what it is.
Oh,
it is top secret.
Can you at least give a hint to company or at least? So
No, not going to say a goddamn word.
You tease.
I am a huge tease, but I will be able to tell you probably in a few months.
Okay.
But I will say right now, when we did it, they didn't even really tell me what it was
they're not supposed to.
Until I was like in the room.
Oh,
I mean, it is that secret.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. You've got me so.
I absolutely love setting that up. That's beautiful. But yes, I really love voice acting. I want to do more of it, and yeah, I am absolutely not spilling the beans. Now that you've called me a turd and threatened me with an imaginary shotgun, you get nothing. And by the way, you can't call me a turd when your name is BM. That's insane.
Hey, but now here's a question. If you were to do, since they've had all these comic book, stuff, animation, all that stuff, if you were to be in any anime, Marvel, DC, what role would you want? Like, like if you could pick anyone from DC or Marvel as a voice.
Man, it's funny. I can't.
I see you as Tony Stark. I guess you.
No. I am not a Tony Stark by any means. But no, I mean, for me, I'm more interested in. And listen, if I get hired for like a legacy character, that's amazing. But I mostly think about new stuff. I like new characters. I like having someone where there's not this massive history for it, where I can help create it from the ground up. That's what I get very excited about.
All right, okay, that's understandable. I just thought I'd
Having said that, I 100% really want to do a voice on that Harley Quinn show. That shit is fantastic.
Yes.
That shit is fantastic.
In that case, they've done so many redoings of the characters. Like there's something radically different that technically you could look at it as doing a new character because you're doing a new interpretation.
That show totally rips. Anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen it, the Harley Quinn cartoon is unbelievably great. It
is. And I don't know if you've seen it. There's a comic that's an app taking place right afterwards.
Right on.
Yeah, it is so good. And it's about, Harley and Ivy. And Ivy's still reeling from the stuff with Kite Man.
Yeah, of course. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Gordon, good God, Gordon is on the warpath.
Hot mess. Absolute hot mess.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I honestly, like the DC animated stuff is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've really loved a lot of their animated original films. Like, I love their Suicide Squad animations.
Mm-hmm.
And
have you seen the movie? Have you seen the movie, by the way?
I saw the new Suicide Squad. I loved it.
Oh, I did too.
I thought it was an absolute joy.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, it's really amazing that now, I think DC, as far as their films, has now entered, it's their fuck it era, where they're just like, all right, fuck it. We're just going to, we're going to try stuff. And I think it started with Aquaman, which is a full-on fuck it movie where you're just like, there's an octopus playing drums.
Exactly.
There's seahorses that whinny.
But that's from the comics. That's
it rules though, and most comic book movies don't go that far into the absurd.
Oh no.
But then, like, honestly, in the last year and a half alone, you've had Birds of Prey, which was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, it was fun.
Which has the best action of any comic book movie since Blade.
Oh yeah, well, especially when you have the John Wick guys involved.
That's right, 8711, incredible stuff. But like, you know, and then you had like a 4-hour fucking Batman movie this year, Justice League, which I loved. And which is like this giant like Wagnerian super opera. And then like the Suicide Squad, which is filthy. It is
beyond filthy. I mean, that type of R rating, you were not expecting.
They earned that R rating.
They did, especially.
And I loved it.
Yep, especially that the fact you would not expect full frontal happening, and you're like,
No, you didn't. You did not expect full frontal.
Yeah, you do not. But then you're like, oof. But I gotta say, the fact we finally got a good retort from "Stop being a show up." It's only show. It's good. It's good to show up unless it's fucking dope. Fuck,
that's right.
I love that because you've never heard a good retort to that.
The payoff to the village massacre sequence is, I laughed for once. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen it. There is a payoff following a massive action scene that is so quiet and so fucking mean that I laughed for 5 straight minutes after watching it.
Oh, I know. Just simply said, they went in without enough information. That's all we'll say.
Yep. That's it. Absolutely astonishing. Just brutal and funny, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so my answer is I'm most excited about the idea of playing new characters. That's how my mind works. But for God's sake, hire me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because hey, I might one day, because I have a whole bunch of, I've had this superhero universe in my mind for ages. And
write it down.
I am writing it down, but here's the thing.
You gotta write it down.
I have different versions of how I would handle it. Like one version I would have in there, I'm a big proponent of the multiverse, so I would make sure there's a different universe, a different Earth that matches to whatever medium. Perfect. Video games, comics, live action or animated. Amazing. All of that.
Amazing.
Yeah, because you got to start doing that now. Nowadays, they realize you got to start playing out. Otherwise, you're going to just let someone else do it. And unless you're involved, it might not guaranteed to be good.
I mean, listen, my whole thing is this, because I enjoy these interlocking universes. They're fun, but it all has to start just from character. It's like
very much
just create characters who you care about, create characters you'd be happy to watch sitting in a room having a conversation.
Oh, exactly. Hey, there's a reason why I asked you once, if you remember my tweet from a couple of weeks, months ago about how would Beetlejuice react to meeting Joey? That was me who did that.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah, seriously, that's just that idea of Joey and Beetlejuice walking around, and I could somehow imagine their interaction wouldn't go. It'd probably go it'd be an interesting conversation interaction. It'd be depending on the mood Beetlejuice is in, that's for sure. Like if Beetlejuice is in a scheming mode,
my guess is that Beetlejuice would probably he would probably totally sexually harass Joey. I think that would probably be the.
That's very true. That is very true.
This omnisexual chaos demon.
Yeah, but I was saying, if he was trying to do his shtick on Rosa, Joey would have none of it. He'd be all like, "Okay, I don't care what you've done.
But what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Fucking blow on him? Like, come on."
True. It depends on how well his ghost side can interact with someone from the dead.
Very true, but Beetlejuice has taken corporeal form.
That is true too, but again,
now we're getting into the weeds.
Hey, that's sometimes some of the best type of talking points. Sometimes is when you get into the weeds like that. You're just like, But so here's a big one. I'm going to ask. Besides Joey, if you go by just all of your secondary roles at Watch It Eye, what has been, if you had to pick one role just by comparison, what would be the most fun? What's the most fun to do?
Oh, gosh. I think almost certainly it would be my role in Techno Babylon.
I'm trying to remember which one that one was, because I haven't replayed that one in a while.
The character I played in Techno Babylon was a snippy British robot
Oh,
who ran an artificial intelligence company.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember.
Oh my, yes, this character. No, he was based on Kenneth Williams, who was a British actor who mainly worked in the 60s and 70s in the Carry On films. And I basically did my little homage to him, and that was so much fun. That was a ridiculous amount of fun.
Yeah. Oh, now that you're doing the voice, I remember now. That was just like, oh, I'm remembering him now. I have to replay it again, but
it's a great game.
Yep. I mean, but you have all of the games. I mean, because like I said, I'm going through Golden Wake. I did a little of Shardlight.
Right on.
Tiberius. Yep,
Tiberius. What a fucking beast.
Oh,
Tiberius was fun.
And I was going to put that in the clip, but I was running out of room. I could have put that money because I wanted to fit it in within that. I don't know if you heard the music. That was from Blackwell Unbound.
Yes.
Yeah, the saxophone. And I was trying to fit it all within that. Of course, then I just had to end the "I'm a floating bomb" again just to end it out.
Listen, that's the crowd pleasing line, no doubt.
Yep, especially, and it was the perfect moment to go to black once Crispin just slams right into it.
Oh yeah.
But I wish I could have put in the Abe room from
the fucking Abe room, the most self-indulgent Charlie Kaufman-ish thing.
That was brilliant, tremendous. Especially what gets you in there. You put the tie on the your portrait there.
That's right.
Yep. How was that though? But the fact there's no real interaction besides among themselves. That I feel. I mean, it's an Easter egg room, so you can only do so much. But
that's right.
I wish we could have gone more like Joey actually having conversations with them, but then you'd be there all day.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, there's a game you have to play.
Exactly. But that was still a brilliant idea because when you see it, you're like, "Oh, what do I do if I interact?" Oh,
I also did. I did a voice in a mobile game called Modern Combat Versus.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. What was that voice?
That voice, I played a guy called Cult with a K. That's how you know he's edgy. And that was an enormous amount of fun. Playing that guy. His main thing is that he poisons people.
Oh,
but I played him as like kind of like a Dennis Hopper in Apocalypse Now, just like oh come on man, game over. Yeah, it was.
Yep. That's
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton from Alien. Game over, man.
Game over, man.
I was like, why don't you just put her in charge then?
Yeah. I just saw someone ask. I don't know what console. I think you can probably play it on your phone.
Yeah, it's a mobile game. I'm pretty sure. I think that's a definite mobile. So, do you remember which installment? 'Cause I think there've been multiple. I think of that game.
Hold on. I'm opening a window here. I think it was just called Modern Combat Versus.
Oh, okay. So
you're gonna hear me. I'm
gonna do the same.
Modern Combat Versus. I believe that's it.
Oh, okay. So it's on Steam.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's like one of the Game Loft games that got ported to Steam, and it's free to play.
Right on. So yeah, if you want, you can play as Cult with a K, and that's me.
Yep. So, but again, I'm repeating myself, but you deserve hearing the praise. You are just such an incredible talent, and
that's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Yep,
it really is.
Yep, I'm kind of unfortunately I don't have much more else to go on about. Unfortunately, we could just start talking random stuff, and
let's talk about your politics.
No, thank you. No, thank you. But again,
all right.
Yeah, but Abe. Funny thing I was saying, I kept calling when I was talking to you was Dave. I kept calling you Gabe at some point. I'm like, why did I do that? I don't know why I kept thinking Gabe.
People have always done this. It's really
it's just. Well, yeah, but
I'm accustomed to it. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you don't have anything else to ask me, I'm just going to start going on about how socialism is the way forward, and we need to raise taxes massively on the rich to fund social programs which have been decimated by decades of conservative decay.
Okay.
You better find a question quick, my friend.
I was going to start wrapping things up, but
no elementary schools are teaching critical race theory. It's something that they teach in institutes of higher learning, and it's a prism through which we can understand the racial inequities of American three.
Okay. Thank you. Again, no, Abe. I'm sorry.
You gave me the platform, man.
I
You
know,
had
I
to
know,
know.
I know.
You've seen my fucking tweets.
Yep, I know. But again, though, in all honesty, thank you so much for all of your work. Thank you for coming on, and I really do wish you the best. I really do wish you. I hope your star does start to shine even brighter in the acting world.
It was an absolute joy talking to you, and really your words are so kind, and they mean a lot to me. They really do. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And I just hope this can help spread out, people knowing about you more, and I really hope for the best.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yep, and everyone else, thank you all for joining me and joining both of us, and just check out any of Abe's work. All right, so. Take care, and I'll be BM get also one of the last lines.
What's up?
As I said, let BM get the last line in.
Oh yeah, let's let BM in there.
Yep, there we go.
Hey, thanks very much. I appreciate that.
Yep. Take care, everyone.